Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the File to Lead podcast, a Christian leaders podcast powered by EBEB Solutions, energy benefits for every business. Go to ebebsolutions.com today and get your free energy audit. It will literally save you time and money. Today on the podcast, a new friend of mine named Toni Collier. Toni has an incredible new book out, and it's all about vulnerability, healing, building hope in the community. We talk about so many things. We talk about her personal journey of embracing brokenness. We talk about the role of accountability and leadership and what that looks like, and why strong relationships are so essential for growth. I think you're going to love this dialogue. We dive into personal disciplines and so many things that help you sustain hope. So now here's a quick word from our partners, and then my conversation with Toni Collier. Hey, and don't forget, hang around for the 3 and 5. 3 practical takeaways in 5 minutes or less. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited today to have nonprofit leader, teaching pastor, author extraordinaire, Toni Collier. Toni, thank you so much for taking time to be on the podcast today.
Go! Also, it's the Toni Show. I'm excited about that.
Look, 400 some odd episodes. First time I've ever interviewed somebody named Toni.
This is the moment. We've arrived.
This is the moment we've been waiting for, right? Like, it's so good. Okay, so I love to start in the macro. You have done a lot of things. You have nonprofit. You're obviously an author. You podcast. You've done all these things. Yeah. I'm curious, if you were to take a step back, not counting the assignment that God has you in right now, how would you describe the calling that God has placed on your life?
I think God has called me to be raw and vulnerable and honest about my own brokenness so that other people know that he can still use them too. Like, God plays no favorites, right? Like, Jesus came to level the playing field. And so the same good work that the Lord's doing in me, he has access to do to and through everybody. And so I'm hoping that my life's work would result in people saying, my brokenness doesn't discount me. God can still use this. And there you go.
I love that, and clearly thought about, which I appreciate. So let's drill down on that though just a little bit, because I'm curious. I talk to a lot of leaders who have brokenness in their life, and they're always not sure if they're ready to talk about that brokenness. Yeah. And so how do you know when is the right time to be real and vulnerable in a way that doesn't break the dam of whatever it is that my intentional practices are holding together?
Here's what I will first say. I think as a leader, asking that question is one of the best things that we could ever do. We should be asking that question all the time. And the filter that I have used to kind of process through pain and live, the healing journey out loud is asking the question, am I hopeful about this or am I bitter about this? And the truth is, I can remember, for me, I've been walking through this season of processing and healing through public divorce and betrayal. And I can remember when it first all happened and I found out all the things about my ex-husband. I got online and I'm good with my words now. I can cut without being too direct. And I had a few subliminal posts and I was deeply hurting. I was in pain. I wasn't eating. I wasn't sleeping. I was not in a hopeful place. And I can remember 2 of my friends, they're both pastors, Reed and Gerald. And they texted me, they sent a group text and they said, hey, Toni, we've seen your post. We also know what's happening behind the scenes. And this isn't the way to handle it. There was this moment here where I was like, my goodness, I've been saying this to people for years. Practice what you preach, Toni, And I was just so grateful for their accountability because I realized no, you have to get off social media because you're bitter, you're upset, you're angry, and that's what's leading. You want to lead with hope, and people can tell the difference. I mean, we see your little crazy statuses on Facebook.
I call it vague booking.
Exactly. You need to calm down. You're going to lose your job. HR is going to see that at any moment. Okay. We can tell when someone is sharing their story from a place of bitterness versus hopefulness. And what I think Jesus has called us to as leaders is to share from places of hope.
How did you practice staying humble in the midst of so much pain?
Well,
because I don't know that I've taken that kind of correction. If I'm spiked, if I'm emotionally spiked, I don't know that I'm taking that kind of correction very well. I'll be like, why don't you text him or her? Whatever. Right?
If you didn't
Right.
Truly. Gosh, this is so interesting because I don't actually think it was intentional. I think humility says I'm surrendering my life to Jesus, and whatever I do. And whoever I'm in relationship with, I want to treat them like Jesus would. And at the end of the day, no matter what deep betrayal and public embarrassment my ex-husband drug me through, he's a son of God, made in his image. And integrity, humility, righteousness says, what would Jesus do in this situation? How can I be like Jesus with skin on, as my friend Ann Voskamp says, to someone that I just actually kind of hate right now? And I think it was practically that, surrendering my life to the Lord and also having accountability. I mean, the way I found out was bizarre in the first place. My ex-husband had to call me to tell me that he was being extorted. And I mean, I don't know what told me to, but I recorded the conversation. I recorded every conversation after that. And so I have all this evidence, all this proof that I genuinely could use. And I just remember putting a group of women together, like kind of an advisory board, Lisa Whittle, Lisa Turkhurst. I mean, just women that are amazing, Joe Saxton. And I just told them, like, I won't make any moves without going through all of you, because I know that I'm fragile. I know that I'm weak. I know that I'm so angry. And I don't want to do anything that doesn't look like Jesus in this season. So hold me accountable. That's what humility says, that I will surrender my life to the Lord and his people, and I'll let people lead me and hold me accountable if I need to.
One of the things that's so refreshing in your writing is it's very vulnerable, but it's also very people centered, right? That's kind of the idea about the book is like, hey, that you don't want to walk through this pain alone. You start off by talking about that morning where you got that call, and then Jessica and Jamie, you FaceTime them in, and you're having this moment where you're like pouring your heart out. Yeah. You also then take us through as the reader on how to build strong community and how important that is. When did you realize that was a skill and not just something that happened accidentally? Because I guess I always grew up thinking I had friends as a kid. Yeah. I should have friends as an adult.
That's easy.
Did you realize like building that strong community was actually like going to take work, intentionally?
That you actually had to build it. Yeah. But this started about 4 years ago. I remember when I was in ministry and I was doing great. I mean, you're like writing books, you're living your best and most glorious life. But I realized like I just never felt deeply seen. When you're traveling on the road and you're meeting thousands of new people every weekend or every week, like it's really cool to be widely known. But to be deeply seen is a whole different ballgame. To be deeply seen is where we get the most healing. It's where we feel seen and soothed and safe and secure. And I just remember feeling like, man, I'm so lonely. And it's weird because I know so many people. I got a call from my friend Jessica Honegger. And she was like, hey, we're starting this confessional community thing. And at first I was like, that sounds weird. It sounds like a blood pact waiting to happen here. Is this a cult? Sure. Like, what's going on? And she's like, Dr. Kurt Thompson, I didn't know him at the time. He has this concept where he brings people together. And instead of like solving each other's issues, we ask questions like, what are you grieving and what are you longing for? And like, how can I show up for you in this space without giving solution? And I was like, I'm down for that. I am down. And we went on our first retreat, and we do a retreat every single year. But even more than that, we meet every single month for 3 hours and have been for 4 years.
Wow.
And we process through grief and pain, and we confess really hard things that we're going through. Being in that group proved to me that you don't just drift into deep community, especially as an adult. We have so much shame stored up in our stories. As you know, like the developmental years from 0 to 13, like there's not a lot of shame that's stored up. Yep. So you got people like my daughter, a little 10-year-old that's on a playground, and she done found 2 new friends and gave them my number at the end of the day. Okay. And I'm just like, what? Like you just met these girls. Like, how are you so... Man, they just don't have a lot of the baggage that we have as adults. And being an adult and pursuing friendship is going to require work because of time, because of wiring, because of our stories, because of shame and embarrassment, because of past betrayals and trust. We got to like heal and fight our way through this. And I'm so glad that I did. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of the unique things about your confessional community is, and you talk about it in the book briefly, is that 2 of you had very public, very difficult, like, and
moral failure. I don't even know.
Just life events.
Yeah.
Right? Like just incredible, painful life events. How do you recalibrate the group after those kind of traumatic events? Because it feels like it would be hard to get back to norm, or is it a new norm, or is it
Yep.
what's everybody else in the group doing going, oh gosh, I'm not drinking that water, whatever that water is, I'm not drinking it, right? Like, talk to me about that process when trauma hits a friend group.
Yep.
How does the friend group recalibrate?
Yeah. It's interesting because I try my best to live a life on the offense and not the defense. Like, I want stuff stored up. I don't want to just be running on empty my whole life. And I think with a group like ours, you've got 3 years of depth built up. You've got 3 years of never leaving the room built up. So you've got this resilience that doesn't even have to be activated or recalibrated because it's there. We don't leave the room. We have committed. We have not making a physical blood pact, but I do feel like a heart blood pact, like we're in. And so what's great about a group like that, but again, I don't want to sugarcoat it. It was weird. Like, you got 7 married women, and now 2 of them are like fighting for what feels like trauma in a marriage and destruction in a marriage. And I will say that our group, and this is a real big thing that I think we battle with as adults, especially in friends groups, is that we don't want, for some reason, to share all of our pain because we think it's going to be too heavy for the people that we're in relationship with. And I just remember, like, one time, me and my friend that was also going through trauma on the group, we were both just like, oh, we just feel like we're taking up so much time. Like, what are y'all going through? And what happens is that you fall into the pain comparison trap.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, my trauma is not as crazy as your trauma, so let me not like say anything. But we don't want to do that. Like, we want to be people that can share in our pain and suffering. And I think that's what the group did. The group was like, take as much time as you need. Dr. Kurt Thompson let us have this phrase, it's when you're ready and not before. Like, we're just going to show up as we're going to show up, and we're just going to hold what we can hold. And that's enough.
Amen.
And that's enough.
Well, one of the interesting things about this process is you're very open about some of the intentional healing that you've done, which I absolutely love. You talk about your gym habit, and I'm a big gym guy, and so love that. Like, yep. And so one of the phrases that we use around here a lot is that if you're not dedicated to your disciplines, you'll be destroyed by your distractions.
Well, there you go.
What are some of the disciplines that you do on a regular basis that we can steal from you to, like, obviously the gym's a part of that. You go 6 days a week, like all that kind of stuff. Like, what are some of the other disciplines? Yeah.
So I did a life plan. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Tom Patterson Institute. Loved it very much. The one thing that I took away from it that I think is just full, safe, bulletproof is called a replenishment cycle. And I have lived by it, I think now for like 8 years, which is crazy. And essentially what it is you pick some of the things that give you life. So we're not real good at this because we are generous and we want to pour out, and we're just pouring. But writing down and being very specific about the things that give you life. Here are mine. I love to be outdoors. Love it. I need to get outside. During COVID, I realized it. I was like, oh no, I need to get a bike. I need to be outdoors frolicking with the wilderness. It's just something I think of my dad, grew up in the country, all the things. I love it. Another thing that gives me life is trying new food. That's just, I don't know. God just wired me that way. Thank the Lord that he gave us taste buds. I'm so grateful. Another thing is getting my hair and nails done, which seems a little vain, but I kind of just like to be well kept. Like, it just makes me feel better. And then obviously the gym. Well, it's not enough to name the things that you need. You have to put them in a rhythm, which I love. I mean, Rebecca and Gaves have the rhythms of renewal, like just this idea that we have to be in rhythm so that we can be on the offense and not the defense. And so for me, what that looks like is I am outdoors at least 2 days a week. It's a cadence. I'm getting my hair done once a month. I'm getting my nails done once a month. Like, it's a rhythm. I'm going to the gym 5 days is actually what's in my replenishment cycle. But if I can make it 6, I'm going 6. And it could change and grow. Like right now I'm a run girly. Okay. Kind of hated it before. Now I kind of love it. I like pray and run, and I love it so much now. And I've committed now to doing at least a mile a day, which is crazy work.
A marathon coming your way? Half marathon?
No, I don't even know why I'm running. Somebody asked me this, are you training? I was like, for what? What you talking about? Like, no, I don't want to run a marathon. Actually, because I'm super competitive, so I don't do well in those types of environments, because I've even like ran until my legs fell off and don't even care because I'm so competitive. But replenishment cycles, my goodness, what are the things that give you life? How often do you need to do them? And can you be consistent with them? Because that's how you make sure that you have stuff in the tank when stuff hits the fan.
how do you know when you're off? Like, one of the things that we talk about a lot in coaching is like scorecards.
Yeah.
Like, how do you keep a scorecard on your replenishment cycle?
Yeah.
I mean, because like it's not uncommon for me to negotiate with myself out of really good coping mechanisms for the sake of Jesus stuff, or like or like my kids, right? Or like insert whatever excuse I want to make here, right? Like I'll do that. How do you prevent mission drift?
Yeah. So I actually think it's two things. I think on the front end, my friend, I have two friends named Marquise and Crystal Cox. They have an organization called More to Marriage, and they have this concept that when you're trying to produce change or consistency in your life, that you'll go through three phases. It'll be awkward, it'll be mechanical, and then it'll come natural. It was very awkward for me at first just to go for a walk. I was like, okay, I got to get out in nature. What am I supposed to do? Then I found this like yoga. What is it called? Like, I don't know. It was like yoga, but like on the water on a paddleboard. I'm like, that's not it. Okay. Very awkward. I'm falling my edges. My hair look crazy. It's nuts. Okay. Then I'm on a bike. Like it just was weird. It was awkward to change at first. And then it became mechanical. So then I put it in my calendar. All right. Like, how often do I need to do this? I need to set reminders. I'm also not a really touchy-feely person. I've got a lot of sexual trauma in my story. I even have a calendar invite every day at 8 a.m. to affirm and hug my daughter. Okay? Like that. Very mechanical. Because then as our brains begin to wire around this new thing, it becomes natural.
Yeah.
I just don't even skip a beat. Like I just know that I get outside and it is what it is. And so I think we have to know that at first it could be very awkward. And then maybe we have to put some guardrails and consistency in place, and it may be mechanical for a little while. And then eventually it will become natural. I also think that the second thing around this like replenishment is, and you probably know this, like checking your window of tolerance. I think when we get on our healing journeys, we become more self-aware, which is amazing. It's not self-righteous, but self-aware, knowing where we are and how we respond to things. And in our house, we have a little chart on our refrigerator called the window of tolerance. And it's just two lines stacked up parallel. And that's the window of tolerance. And when we are out of our window of tolerance, we go to two places. We go up, hyperarousal, popping off, screaming, slamming doors, all the things. It's the fight or flight model. Or we go into hypoarousal. Completely shut down, right? Like the shutdown people are like, I don't want to talk about it, right? When we get outside of our window of tolerance and go to those places in our household, we ask questions. Am I hungry? Do I need to take a break? I need some sleep. What can I be praying about right now? What's missing in my life? What around me? And I think when we start to pay attention to those moments, we could easily say, you know what? I surely have not been outside this week. Maybe I need to try that.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just think it's this continual awareness that we have to have as we get older, especially.
Yeah. My experience is in the 12-step community, and we always say HALT, right? Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Like if I'm in one of those, I need to just stop making decisions. I need to go take care of whatever needs to be taken care of.
Just go ahead and reset a little bit. Yeah. Get a reset. That's okay. Yeah.
One of the things you write in the book that caught me off guard in the intro, I think, was I want to be more optimistic. Right. And so here's what's interesting about that. I have known and followed your work for a number of years.
Yeah.
And you're incredibly joyful and you're boisterous. You're outspoken and in good ways, all good ways, right? Like you're a fiery preacher by all accounts. Like you're bringing the word with heat and enthusiasm, right? Yeah. You haven't stopped smiling since we got on this call, right? So, which I deeply appreciate. Like, I love it. I love it. So for me, when I read that, I was like,
what are you talking about?
I would not have pictured Toni as being not optimistic. Yeah. Talk to me about that disconnect in the period.
Talk to Toni. Go. No, truthfully, I was born like this. Okay. I have always been a little Teletubby, bopping around, super extroverted. And I've been through a lot of hard things in my life. I mean, I was exposed to pornography at 7. My mom got very sick when I was 8, had a massive stroke. I ended up being a little caregiver for her because my dad worked so much, and my dad was an alcoholic. He used to just be cursing everybody out all the time. I was sexually manipulated by cousins when I was young. I mean, just the list goes on and on. I started drinking, smoking weed, doing drugs at 13. I ended up leaving my parents' house at 16. I mean, so much darkness. And I can remember a moment where I felt like, man, I don't think I'm a Teletubby anymore. Like I think the darkness has actually taken over. And I just hated it because I just wasn't myself. And so when I write this in the book, it was during a season where I just felt like the darkness had won. I'm like, where is Teletubby Toni? Like, what happened? Where am I at? Like, where's my optimism? Where's my glass half full girl? Like, what went on? And I think what I'm fighting for here is really remembrance.
Yeah.
I want to remember what the Lord has done so that when really hard things come, I have the belief, the optimism that says, no, 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 this is just a season. He is working all of this out for my good. He is the master chess player. Redemption's on the way. And with what I went through, public embarrassment, divorce, all of this stuff, betrayal, I mean, the years of betrayal, like it had taken that from me. And I deeply wanted it and am still fighting for it to have it back.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
And has the church been kind to you, like in this process? Like, I have a lot of opinions. I love the local church. I'm a fan of it, but I think a lot of Christians are mean, and the internet is like not very well filtered. And you're a minority and a woman, right? Like, and so like, you know, it's way different for you than it is for me, right? We can just call that out there and just be honest about it. How has that experience been for you? How has the church treated you, the larger church?
Yeah, I love this question because I've never unpacked this, but I'm praying with everything in me that it inspires someone to love the church in spite of the church. Because I can literally tell you that my ex-husband and I planted a church together. It was originally Hillsong Atlanta. That was weird. Okay. Then it transitioned to Story Church, and we had our own church, our own community. I was pastor there, like all the things. When the divorce happened, I didn't hear from one single person.
Wow.
We walked out of the church. I mean, I was planning on going to church that Sunday and never went back and never heard from anyone. And that was so painful because not only was it our church home, but it was a church that I helped build, the people that I helped steward. Like, you know, I had a lot of churches cancel on me. And I remember talking to Lisa Turkhurst about this too. Like, do I stay on the road? Like, am I discounted now? And she was like, the churches that'll have you will have you. And the churches that you're not supposed to be at, you won't be at. You've done nothing wrong. And that's okay. And God will redeem all that. But I'm talking about, had a booking, shipped my books there. My daughter was coming, so excited. And 4 days before they call and they're like, one of our members Googled you and saw what you've been through and we're canceling. Like, okay. And then 2 days before I had to post a statement, I was on the call with Lisa Turkhurst, Mark DeMoss, who was Billy Graham's PR person and came out of retirement to help a little girl he don't even know, little Toni, little me, write a statement that was honoring to both my ex-husband, who really didn't deserve the honor, and to my children. And I'm sitting in my living room and the church is surrounding me, the church at large, and helping me walk through it. The church is the one that furnished my home. I don't have a super nice, lavish house. We got blue walls. It is what it is. But the couch we sit on, my best friend got me. And my daughter's bedroom was bought by Jackie Hill Perry. And my bedroom is bought by my confessional community of women. The mirrors that we look at and have family dance parties at night were bought by Deborah Folletta and the church.
Wow.
And so the church is hard and messy and redemptive and good, and it'll heal you and it'll hurt you and it'll be everything that humanity is. And it's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. There's that. Okay.
There's that. I just think it's important for people to hear that because it's just the reality is like, it's definitely a both and kind of situation. And one of the things that I loved about the book is the think on this section.
Yeah, at the end.
At the end of every chapter, right? You kind of you do a great job of summarizing it.
Yeah.
It feels like you are just a fierce prayer warrior throughout the entire book, which I desperately appreciate. How do you the book is really about pain and yet has this kind of sense of optimism and hope built in through the people. Talk to me about the creative process of putting a book like this together.
My gosh. Well, just that everyone knows, this actually wasn't the book that was supposed to come out. My second book that I had written was about sanctification. It was called I Still Think About Doing Wild Things Sometimes. That is the book that we would have been talking about on the podcast. And there were parts in there about moral failure. And because I had just walked with my ex-husband through a moral failure, my publishers were like, ooh, I don't know if you want to come out with this book yet. And so sitting in the midst of healing and pain, I was challenged to write another book, this book. And that's crazy. Okay. And I remember I texted my confessional community. Jenny Allen was like, that other book will come out. It'll be fine. God's going to redeem that. And Lisa Turker said that her last couple of books were written from places of pain, and they've been her most powerful books. Because instead of trying to be a know-it-all or an expert, it was more about me saying, hey, like, I'm living this and I can see the fruit of this, and I need to tell everybody about it. Like, there was an urgency to this book. I have an incredible writing coach named Margot Starbuck. She's so amazing. And she sat down with me. We spent a day together, and I just told her like all these stories of how my community came through. And we just started pulling these biblical principles out of all of those things. And we created an outline, and then I just wrote. For 3 months, I just wrote nonstop. I wrote and I snot cried and I napped and I wrote again. And it's truly, I think, the greatest thing I've ever created with the Lord. Like, I could shout this one from the rooftops until I could be like one of them artists that only come out with one album. I could ride out on this thing. It was the most powerful thing to me. And what's really cool is that a lot of my friends are in the book. And I got to text them like, hey, I want to share this story about this thing that happened, or I want to do this. And they were like, yes. And so it's real and it's raw and it's honest and it's beautiful.
What was reading the audiobook like?
Okay, actually, I thought I would cry much more. I actually only cried for the dedication, because that dedication is, okay, tender. And at the very end, for some reason, I cried when I talked about being a good friend. Like, you can't just expect to have great friends if you're not a great friend. Anyways, and so, I don't know, I cried on that chapter. But reading it was like, I felt control. Like, not like pompous, prideful, but there was so much of my life that I was not in control of, that when I got to sit down and get in front of a mic and read my words and say them with like passion and grit and honesty and rawness, like it felt like freedom. Like I get to use my voice. What a privilege it is that God would do a crazy turnaround on my pain into a purpose that's a book into years. Some of us go through pain and not even see the redemption for years, for decades. And I got to see it within the year, dang near. That it was like, I felt revved up. I felt fired up. I did. Yeah, I did.
I love it.
I did.
One of the things that I appreciate about books like yours is the arc of kind of how you wrote it, right? And so part 1 is about why you try to heal alone. Part 2, building a strong community. Part 3 is what to remember in your healing journey. But at the end, in the conclusion, you do a great job of summarizing 5 things that you want the reader to really think about. And you end with this idea of growth. Talk to me about out of those 5 things, like why at the end, it's like this summary, and why end with growth?
I mean, at the end of the day, if we're not growing, then we're regressing. I mean, like the wear and tear of life just pulls you back. Like we're not, like it is an uphill battle. We're not just like floating and drifting into a beautiful life. No, we're building it, right? Like we're working for it. And so I just feel like if we're not growing, we're regressing. And what does that mean for us in friendship? It means, how can I be even more like Jesus to my friends? How can I do a better job at showing up? How can I do a better job at communicating? Andy Stanley used to say, clarity is kindness. Like, how can I be more kind? How can I be more clear? How can I manage friendships well? And I don't say it from this place of condemnation. Honestly, I think I say it from a place of authority because I've done it so wrong. Like I have 20 years probably of not being a great friend to people. I'm kind of feisty with my words. Like I have detachment. I have like a little detachment issue that we identified in counseling. Like if a friend, like conflict happens, I'd be like, bye, I'll just get another one. I'm an extrovert. They're lined up,
Sure.
I really was not a great friend. And I had to grow into the person that I am now that says, no, if there's a rupture in our relationship, we go repair it. We're going to talk about the hard thing. We're going to say it. I'm going to cover and saturate you in prayer. I'm going to put Jesus at the center of our friendship. And I'm not going to gossip. Like, Lord, I'm a good scoffer. I'm funny too a little bit, so I can really talk about somebody real good and make you
I bet you are.
Oh, I drag a person across the floor. I mean, just truly. And I just remember getting convicted about that. Like, girl, stop talking about people. Okay. It's not funny. It is, but it's not, like, and so I don't know. For some reason, I feel like it's easy for us to get into this prideful place of like, I'm good. I got this. No, we don't. We have to grow every day.
One of the things I know about my community, the bold ones, is kind of what we call each other around here.
Ooh,
Bold ones.
good one. The bold.
Thank you. Is that they love to pray.
Yeah.
And so they would love to come alongside you as you pray for this book to get out into the wilderness. What's the prayer that is associated with this book as it gets into the world?
Oh, man. Okay, so I'm going to be honest. Before yesterday, the prayer would have been different. But I had two friends reach out to me. They don't know each other randomly. One of them is actually just a podcast host that just interviewed me, that just become a friend. And they both said that they felt like the Lord was telling them that, oh, this makes me want to cry, that he's calling me to a season of rest, which feels like an oxymoron, because what are you even talking about? I have a book coming out next month, okay? And I have a women's conference that I'm planning 10 days after the book launches. So I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm a single mom. What kind of rest are you referring to? And I was on my run this morning and I just said, Lord, provide clarity for that. Because how? And so I think my prayer now is, Lord, help me get this book out and don't let it cost me too much. Like, I don't want to lose time with my kids that I don't need to lose, that the Lord has not called me to lose. Because there are moments when it's like, you got to go to work, my girl. Like, this is the opportunity I've called you to. But, and I honestly don't even know what that looks like. I'm like, I mean, even this morning as I was running, I just kept feeling this impression on my heart, like, rest in me, rest in me. And I'm like, okay, like what? Like, what does that mean? How does that even happen? I have a to-do list coming out of my ears. What are you talking about? And so I don't know what that looks like right now, but I'm believing if God said it, he'll show it, he'll reveal it, he'll do it. And so I think the prayer is like, Lord, what does rest look like in a restless season? Like, I don't know. You're going to have to reveal that through some prayer warriors, probably. Okay. Through the bold. Okay. So
I love it. That's a great prayer. And honestly, I know that there are a lot of leaders who feel like you just read their mail.
Hey, y'all.
We're in this together. Type A extrovert club. That's so good. Okay, I have one more question for you, but before I ask it, I know the bold ones are going to find you all over the interwebs. Where is the best place to learn all things Toni?
Yeah, so I'd say Toni J. Collier on all the things. So ToniJCollier on Instagram. I have ToniJCollier.com. Everything is there, links and access to all the things.
And you have a healing course online. You've got a whole bunch of resources online. I think the next season of your podcast is getting ready to load up, so they can
podcast.
Yeah, and they can subscribe to that wherever they get their podcasts from. So strongly recommend all of those things.
Yeah.
So, okay, last question I love to ask people. It's an advice question, except I'm going to invite you to go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice. Except I get to name the season of life that you're in.
Ready.
I want to take you back to your very first wedding day and that younger version of you. That morning, you're probably with your people in a space, probably a church, and you're a young woman with the world in front of her. Mm-hmm. If you could pull up a chair with a younger version of yourself, sit knee to knee with her, knowing that you can't change anything that's going to happen. If you were going to look her in the eyes and give her one piece of advice about the seasons that she's going to go into, what would you tell her?
This is so interesting because the first thought that came to my mind is trust your dad. My dad and I at the time did not have a great relationship, but he walked me down the aisle. And before he walked me down the aisle, he said, I don't think you should do this. I don't think you guys are ready to get married. And even if nothing changed, I kind of wish I wouldn't have brushed him off. I actually was a little mad at my dad for saying that on my dang wedding day. Okay. But he knew the reality that I had met this guy and 3 months later decided to move to a different state with him and was shacking up and fighting and screaming. And he was ripping doors off the hinges and punching holes in the walls. And I mean, it was just really, really hard and abusive, toxic marriage. And my dad knew. I mean, even without me telling him ever, he knew. And I wish I wouldn't have ignored him. I wish I wouldn't have been mad at him for that. I wish I would have trusted him more. I wish our relationship was better so that I could have really trusted him with that information. And so I think I would have told Toni, trust your dad. And this is going to be really hard, but you're going to make it. You're going to make it. Yeah. Wow, that was way more tender than I thought it was going to be. I'm going to tell you that much.
Amen.
Amen.
Toni, thank you so much for being vulnerable and generous and just letting us be a part of God's redemption of your story. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really grateful.
Man, what a great conversation with Toni. I absolutely love her heart. Her vulnerability is an example for all of us. So here are your 3 and 5. 3 practical takeaways in 5 minutes or less. Number 1, lead from hope, not from hurt. Lead from hope, not from hurt. True leadership requires sharing stories from a place of healing and hope, not bitterness. If you're a leader and you are grumpy all the time, you need to check your heart. We have to learn to lead from hope. Number 2, disciplines protect your health. I feel like I beat this drum every single week on the podcast, but daily practices like rest, prayer, reflection, working out, all of those things go into sustaining emotional and spiritual strength. Without them, you will literally be like a boat without an anchor. Your disciplines tie you to who you want to be. Number 3, healing requires community. It's not going to be a surprise to anyone if you've listened to this podcast for any length of time. I love people, and I think all of us need people. Deep restoration comes when we allow ourselves to be fully seen and supported by others. If you want to heal well, heal with others. All right, let's hit them one more time. The 3 and 5, lead from hope, not from hurt. Disciplines protect your health, and healing requires community. Thank you for making it to the end of today's podcast. You are now officially one of the bold ones. Your presence in this community means the absolute world to me, and I'm so thankful for the ways that we have connect. Have you thought about becoming one of the members of our community? We dive deeper into all of these things. We talk about leadership. We talk about health. It all comes together really nicely. For more information on that, go to follow2leadcoaching.com/theboldOnes. Also, friends, I'm so excited. Starting next week, we're going to be doing a mini series all about my new book, Wisdom in the Wound. For more information about the book, go to wisdominthewoundbook.com. As always, I'm forever thankful for you. And the highest compliment you can give us, share this episode with a friend. Until next week, remember, if you want to follow Jesus, you must be willing to move.